Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. There's so much on this week's show, I've no idea how I'm going to fit it all into the hour, but I'm going to do my best. I have 3 guests. I have Dr. Susan Barton. She's a travel historian. She's coming on the show to talk about Saga and the survey they commissioned to mark its 65th birthday. She'll also be talking a little bit about the history of travel as well. Frank Brehany from Holiday Travel Watch. He was on last week talking about fraud when it comes to false sickness claims, the history of Holiday Travel Watch, and the possible increase or not in the number of travel companies that are going to be collapsing in 2017. This week, Frank's talking about why airlines can sell seats on their flights without protection, whereas a travel agent can't. Terrorism and airport security. Why you should consider putting a Freedom of Information request in about travel, and an important topic, cabin air quality. Does the air that you breathe while you're flying make you ill? My first guest is Jill Starley-Grainger. She's a travel journalist and blogger, and Jill's on to talk about Travel Republic. They did a survey and asked people about New Year's resolutions when it comes to travel, so Jill's going to be talking about that. But in case you've never heard of Travel Republic, the first thing Jill's going to explain is who they are.
Travel Republic is a travel agency, and they do holidays all over the world. Hundreds of thousands of holidays, and you can tailor make them, or you can buy one of the off-the-shelf products.
It's just released a survey. What did the survey find?
Right, so Travel Republic did a survey of 2,000 people in the UK, and 1 in 3 people said their New Year's resolution is to travel more, which I think is a great resolution because it's a positive one. It's something that you're less likely to let slip by the wayside by mid-January when you're tired of kind of cutting down on booze or fat or going to the gym or whatever it is. Everybody wants to go on holiday. So I'm not surprised that so many people are hoping to do more traveling this year.
What were some of the top destinations on people's wish list?
British people love Italy. It's totally understandable. It has brilliant food, gorgeous people, fantastic wine. It's still fairly affordable as well as far as destinations go. It's no surprise that people want to go to Italy. And when we asked people what the top site was that they wanted to see in the world, they said it was the Colosseum in Rome. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a hangover from Gladiator or if it's just a perennial favorite. To be honest with you, everybody wants to go to the Colosseum. So that's not a big surprise. After that, you had the Great Wall of China mm-hmm. and the Statue of Liberty. So, it's 3 great destinations.
What are your top tips for visiting a landmark? Because there can be times when it's too busy. Is there a certain time of day? How do you go and visit them yourselves?
Right. So if you want to go to a landmark, a museum, whatever it might be, one of the best things you can do now is that Google has added this fantastic thing where let's say you put in the Colosseum in Google, they will now show you the busiest times of day. So it's not 100% foolproof, but they generally show you when the most people are going to these places. I don't know how they've done it. You'd have to ask the techies at Google, but it is actually pretty accurate. So it'll show you when you can go and when you should avoid it. And at the same time, the vast majority of landmarks now, sorry, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of them have websites where if you pre-book, you get a discount. And in many cases, you could actually book it on the way to the landmark. So you don't have to book weeks in advance for most of them, and you can still get a discount on your entry fee.
It's a really good tip using Google. I've asked techies questions in the past and I've never understood the answer. So I just use what they provided and be happy with that.
Exactly. Sometimes we don't need to know. You just are thankful that it's there.
Yeah. As well as Italy, were any other countries mentioned in the top 4 or 5?
North America, Spain, Australia, and Canada are all top destinations. I mean, Spain, again, it's a perennial favorite. It's so easy to get to. You can nip over for your beach break. You can hop over to Mallorca, one of the Costas. It's really easy. So it's one of those places that you don't actually have to put a lot of thought into. You just want a relaxing holiday, nip over to Spain, job done. Everybody wants to go to America, not everybody, but most people want to go to North America at some point, whether it's to New York, California, Florida, or Canada is massively on the increase with popularity with Brits. Brits are loving Canada right now. I don't know if that's because of their new leader, Trudeau. He's very charismatic, or if it's simply because it's now perceived to be one of the most welcoming places on earth. Everybody wants to go there. It has this fantastic scenery. So whether you're going to the USA or to Canada, you can get the Rocky Mountains, which of course spans both countries. You can get beaches. I'm not going to lie, the beaches are typically going to be better in America than they are in Canada just because the weather's better. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go to Miami and the Keys right now and you get fantastic winter sun. So whatever it is, you're getting a lot there in North America and Canada. Australia, obviously, that's a much bigger trip. You're going to need to plan a lot longer because it's 24-hour flight. It can take its toll if you have it sort of planned and prepared for it. But once you're there, you have Sydney, you have the Blue Mountains, the Great Barrier Reef, all of these amazing sites. But you're definitely going to want to plan a longer trip to Australia, at least 2 weeks, I'd say. Whereas in North America, you can almost do a city break to New York, frankly. But if you want to make it a bit longer, a week is a good amount of time to go to America or Canada.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's in Australia at the moment, and she's posting everything on Facebook. I'm thinking about unfriending her because I'm so jealous of what she's getting up to right now.
Well, this time of year is great for Australia, isn't it? I mean, the winter sun there is glorious for us. So, yeah, it's a good time to go. She
is saying it's too hot, though. It's about to snow here, and she's saying it's too hot there.
Well, I think if you go to certain parts of the country, it's not going to be quite as hot. So you can get a bit of winter sun without sweltering. It depends where you are. It's such a big place, isn't it?
It is.
It's just so massive compared to the UK.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. Still to come on the show, there's some history about holidays and people travelling from around the 1700s to the present day, and the air quality in the cabin of the aircraft you're flying in. Is it polluted? Can it make you ill? That's coming up too. But at the moment I'm speaking to Jill Starley-Grainger. She's a travel journalist and blogger. She was representing Travel Republic, and she's going to give us more tips and hints about how to get the best holiday for 2017. When somebody's found the destination they want to go to, it's all about finding the rest of the holiday package. What sort of things are we looking out for? Is it cheap holidays or good quality hotels? What do we look for?
It really depends. I mean, if you're going with a big group of friends, or if you're on a budget, then obviously price is a key factor, which is why January is one of the best times to book. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that because January is the number one time for people to book holidays, which means loads of people book holidays in January. It's huge in the travel industry. There are also loads of sales. So you get fantastic deals in January, and that would be for holidays immediately, this weekend, mm-hmm. as well as holidays right up through December. So if you can do it, if you can plan several holidays now and book them, chances are you're going to get a really good deal. If budget is not a worry, then obviously you can leave it a bit later and book sort of last-minute trips. It's pretty rare to get really good last-minute deals anymore unless you are really flexible on the day you can travel as well as the destination. So if you don't care if you fly out on a Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, then and you don't care where you're going, you can still get some last-minute deals. But for the most part, the best deals to be had are by booking as far ahead as possible. I know that sounds like one of those things that people say just to try to get you to book, but I don't work for a travel agency. This is just based on years of experience that I know that basically what happens is the best deals are going to be in January or at one of the other key sale periods. January is the biggest. You tend to have some other ones in spring and autumn. But January is huge with everybody doing massive sales to try to get people to book with them. And then the other thing is if you can't book during a sale period, as far ahead as possible tends to get you the best deal. And you can also sometimes call and negotiate and haggle if you are booking far ahead. So you could maybe get some extras thrown in, whether it's free transfers or half board at a discounted price, that sort of thing. But you tend to only get that when you're booking far ahead.
I mean, booking far ahead, you get good prices and a better choice, so it's always best to do that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And, if you're trying to book for a group of people as well, booking far ahead helps because then you can get consensus from everybody, whereas if you're trying to book something really quickly last minute for a group, you're sometimes stuck with, whatever's available, and that might not be exactly what you want. If you're going with a family, you might not be able to get the hotel that has the great kids club. You might not be able to get the place that's walking distance to the beach. So booking far ahead is ideal. Of course, last minute holidays are fun too, especially if you're talking about the UK, where you can quite often, book great last minute hotels and just nip over. But for the bigger holidays, I think definitely booking ahead is the key to getting a good deal and what you want without spending too much money. It helps you budget a bit as well. So with some companies, you can pay a deposit and then just pay a little bit throughout the year. So that's quite useful for budgeting while also getting the best deal.
So what are you looking forward to travel-wise in 2017?
Oh, travel this year. I think South Africa is huge. That's because the rand, the local currency in South Africa, is actually still really good value for anybody traveling with sterling. So it's a little bit expensive to get to South Africa, although if you are willing to go via places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, etc., you can still get really good deals on flights. Once you're there, it's so cheap. If you go to the national park, you can stay in, you can go on safari for, less than £50 per person within the national parks. And if you go to Cape Town, you don't even have to go on safari. You just see this amazing wildlife within reach of Cape Town. They have penguins, you're going to have baboons, springbok, all sorts within, a really close, day tripable from Cape Town. So South Africa is a huge destination. I think when it comes to cruising in particular, Asia is massive. That's taking off hugely. So lots of people are wanting to take cruises. It's very easy on a cruise because, you're not having to repack your bags all the time, and yet you get to see lots of destinations. So you could, for example, do a cruise that goes from Shanghai to Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia, all in one easy trip. You're getting all these different cultures, all these different experiences, and yet you still just sort of have your floating hotel. So it's a very easy way to scoop up a lot of destinations.
I'm all for stuff being easy. So
Sorry?
I'm all for stuff being easy.
Yeah, who isn't? At the same time, though, some places that require a little bit more effort can be rewarding. So if you go to Machu Picchu, for example, that requires a certain amount of effort. It doesn't necessarily require a lot of booking effort. You can just, you can book trips to Machu Picchu quite easily, but obviously you're going to have to get up the mountain. There are cheap ways to do it, which I'm all in favor of, frankly. You can take the train. If you have all the money, you can take a helicopter. And one of the best things about Machu Picchu, okay, it's not one of the best, but a fun little thing about Machu Picchu is that when you get to the top and you're in these amazing ruins, you can go to the ticket booth and they will give you a stamp in your passport that has a little picture of Machu Picchu, and it's just quite a fun little stamp to have in your passport.
I didn't know that, but that would be a good stamp.
Yeah.
So how can we find out more about Travel Republic and your own writing?
For Travel Republic, it's if you go to travelrepublic.co.uk, they have hundreds of thousands of holidays to choose from. And for me, you can follow me on Twitter at UK